I think people should get into it because there's always just something advancing every single day. Like you're never going to be bored unless you make yourself bored. There's always something to learn more about. There's always new technology coming out. There's always new robots. There's always new machining. I mean, it's unbelievable. And like the ability that you have to learn these things it's constant. So you can always advance yourself and make yourself more valuable in this industry if you really just put in the work. So I love the advancements. I also love the people here. I've really never met more like salt of the earth people than I have in manufacturing. And that's in every state. I've traveled all over and the people are unmatched and the support in the community is great.
Welcome back to the Manufacturing Come Up. I'm your host, Malachi Greb, and today we have an awesome guest, somebody who's very popular in the industry, and you probably already know who it is, Lauren LaDell with Motor City Spindle Repair. Hi, and welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
I'm glad to have you.
It's good to be here.
You've been making waves, especially on LinkedIn. You're growing crazily in followers.
Yeah.
Just making an impact.
Still surreal, but yep, 5 years later, we're working. We're putting in work.
When did you start your LinkedIn journey?
Oh gosh, it was July of 18? 2019.
2019?
I think.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
I might be off there, but it's July some year.
And what made you jump on LinkedIn?
My boss made me jump on LinkedIn. When I was in college, we took a class in communication and they were like, LinkedIn is where you find a job and that's all. So it's only professional content. Like you're just looking for jobs and connecting with people to get you in an industry. Mm-hmm. And my boss was like, no, it's going to be more than that. And he had me start doing videos and putting myself out there when no one else was really doing that. And now it's gotten us to where we are. So I'm really thankful for him for making me do that or having me do that.
But was that with the current employer you're with now?
Yeah, that was with Motor City. Ted Leginski is a pioneer for LinkedIn, that man.
Yeah. I mean, LinkedIn is like a super powerful place. Like my favorite part about it is it's like a good place to be like a social network with like other professionals and professional conversations and like just being able to go to a single place for that type of content.
Yeah, it's great. And I love that it's now becoming more of like a balance between professional and personal. It doesn't have to be like the hardcore industry content 24/7 to make you successful on there.
Yeah. Yeah. Like even a few years ago, it was like much more strict. Like it was, I know, like, I think I started LinkedIn like maybe like 2.5 years ago, going like pretty hard at it. And like, I'd write content and some things would be about like, maybe work-life balance or just whatever, right? And like people would just like come in the comments like, oh, don't write this on LinkedIn. This is for Facebook, not da-da-da-da.
We love that comment though. Yeah. We all get it every single day.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like one thing that's kind of nice is that part, like that's died down a lot from my experience.
Yes.
And that was also another really cool thing that I noticed from like LinkedIn community is like, there's a lot of positivity and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the support on LinkedIn has grown substantially. I mean, it's always been a pretty positive place. You're always going to get those keyboard warriors that think that they're invincible online because they can't be face-to-face with you. But for every like 10 positive comments I see maybe one. And that's like really pushing it. So I definitely see way more support than negative.
So go ahead and update the community with where you're currently at in your career and some of the things that you're doing.
Yeah, so I am now almost 5 years into my position with Motor City. I started as a regional sales manager. I moved over to national sales manager, and now I'm I don't even know what you would consider me. I'm still in sales, but I do a lot of marketing and they go hand in hand. Obviously, if you market yourself, your sales can increase if you're doing it the right way, hopefully. So I'm marketing and sales. And I guess for me personally, I'm trying to really just put myself out there as much as I can. So thank you for having me on this podcast. I do podcasts. I'm trying to doing more trade show speakings on panels and things like that. I told you previously that I'm looking to get into schools and do involvement with more of the youth side of things. So I'm really just focusing on being an advocate in the best way possible for women and getting the youth involved and just the industry in general. So putting my name out there a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've done a really good job at it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. But it's been, again, 5 years of it. So it's really just a lot of persistence and consistency, like you said. So when I started LinkedIn, I think I had out of college like 200 followers and that, or connections at that point, because it wasn't even followers, but it was nothing because no one was taking it seriously. But then each year, I mean, but I post every single day, Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekends, and you don't really take a day off unless you reach a certain level, and you can do that. But um, you got to be consistent, and you're not going to see 20,000 followers overnight. So yeah, 5 years, every single day, and putting myself out there, and that's how you see your growth, slowly but surely.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Have you always been posting daily, or is it something that you kind of picked up over some time?
No, I have been Ted, this is Ted's fault again. I say fault, but it's like a blessing. Like every single day, Monday through Friday, it's been a thing for the last couple of years that I've worked there, or all of the
Wow,
years that I've worked there. Yeah.
nice,
Yes.
nice. Yeah, yeah. I mean, part of the reason why I'm like taking so much involvement with this LinkedIn conversation is because LinkedIn can become such a powerful tool. Like if you can talk about intelligent things, just really whatever it is that you're doing, right, and like build a community around that,
Mm-hmm.
that opportunities just start opening up, and there's just like endless possibilities. You might get job offers that come to you versus you having to go to job opportunities.
Yep.
Um, so LinkedIn is like extremely powerful, and some of the like the tactics or the strategies or the just what you do on a common practice and how it makes an impact over time.
Yeah, and I always tell people who ask me for tips and tricks to LinkedIn, I probably do maybe one or two posts about my actual business a week. And then other than that, I do personal posts that can relate to the mass audience. And why do I do that? And that's when we get the Facebook comments. But it's like you do that because all of your connections and following is not necessarily in the manufacturing industry. But you know what? A lot of their comment or connections, their second connections, third connections are. So them engaging with your posts and relating to your posts can bring a new audience that can
Mm-hmm.
tailor to whatever you're in. So you
Yeah.
never just want to constantly push out 24/7
Mm-hmm.
this work and industry information because it doesn't relate to everyone. You want to be a person as well. So that's always
Yeah.
a good way to go about it.
Yeah. One of my personal philosophies and like our strategies as a company is like we want to do like 5-10% like sales, like
Hmm. Yeah.
hey, buy this thing from us, and then like 80% is like education, and then within that education it's talking to different sectors of individuals. It's college students looking to find employment. It's uh, maybe other professional engineers looking for other positions. Maybe it's education along like robotic welding or things along those lines, more like the technical aspects and like things to think about like for engineers. So like some of it's like conversations around our customer, some of it's around conversations around like getting the next generation into manufacturing. But in all those posts, like a small amount of that, like that 80% is really kind of just excluding our name out of it. Maybe
Yeah.
there's like some brand coloring, there's something that associates our brand with it, but it doesn't really mention our brand in
Right.
a sense.
Right. Yeah. And because you are the brand. I mean, people know you as that brand already for one. For example, I mean, I'm known as obviously Lauren LaDell, but I'm known as the Spindle Chick. And the Spindle Chick is only associated to Motor City Spindle Repair. I mean,
Yeah.
what else is this? Where would the spindle come from? So there's that. But I also always put at the end of every single post, no matter if it's personal or professional or whatever it is, I tag Motor City because I am a representation of that company and people know that
Yeah.
and they'll see that always.
Yeah, I think that's important too, especially after you like build out a following that like you put like some type of tag in there to
Yep.
for people to easily like click and like kind of follow through to like whatever it is that you're doing. Because there is like, I mean, I think a lot of people and probably yourself included like do this because you kind of just like doing it in general.
Mhm. Right.
But also too, like it gives the people that do follow you the ability to potentially support you in a way.
Right. Right. And support the company that really started it all for me. So I would be nothing without
Yeah.
Motor City and that's who I represent to till this day. So
going back in time a little bit, did you think that you were ever going to be in manufacturing?
I love this question because I always answer it the same. Abso-freaking-lutely not. And I've never in my life did I think that I'd end up here. And now I couldn't imagine my life without it. So to give you the kind of quick rundown of how I got here, I went to school. I was fully convinced I was going to be the next Erin Andrews. And if you guys don't know who that is, that's the sideline reporter for sports. She's like the main chick. I interned with ESPN, hated it, probably because I was bringing in coffees every day and I really had to work my way up and I didn't want to take 20 years to do so. So I'm a very instant gratification type of person. But moral of the story, I got a really horrible job out of college, hated that as well. And I was on Indeed one day and I was scrolling through and I saw sales manager for manufacturing and I was just like, well, I can talk to people. I have been talking with predominantly men related fields and sports. That's what I went to school for. So I applied, and a couple weeks later, I met with Ted, and 5 years later, here we are. So it's just, no, I never thought I'd be here though.
It's kind of crazy how like just a simple click of a button, like just scrolling on Indeed, and you just find kind of like where your career path takes you.
Yeah, it's like your forever home is just there, and you never would even think twice about it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What are some particular things that you like about manufacturing and why you think people should get into it?
I think people should get into it because there's always just something advancing every single day. Like you're never going to be bored unless you make yourself bored, you know? So there's always something to learn more about. There's always new technology coming out. There's always new robots. There's always new machining. I mean, it's unbelievable. And like the ability that you have to learn these things is just, it's constant. So you can always advance yourself and make yourself more valuable in this industry if you really just put in the work. So I love the advancements. I also love the people here. I've really never met more like salt of the earth people than I have in manufacturing. And that's in every state. I've traveled all over and the people are unmatched and the support in the community is great. So there's really no negative. I mean, there's obviously some negatives, but there's really no negative thing about manufacturing besides.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I really like about the manufacturing space is it's one of those career paths that you can take anywhere, right? Like if you want to do like manufacturing, but there's marketing to manufacturing, there's sales to manufacturing, there's engineering to manufacturing, there's uh, supervisor positions, there's director positions, like uh, so many different positions that I think manufacturing gives opportunities for that like you couldn't get in any other place, or at least like maybe the path is not as easily defined. Like you can go start as an engineer at a facility or a manager at a facility and work your way up to a director of that facility or of the entire operations. And really all it takes is like that vision and that sight to be able to take on and navigate your career path to whatever you'd really like to see it be.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something I talk to a lot of the females that I advocate for. I mean, I bring up the fact that there's so many facets to this industry. You don't have to be on the plant floor running a CNC machine to be in the manufacturing industry. So, I mean, I'm in sales and marketing and I am still in this trade and there's constant room for advancement and growth. It's all on you. It really is. If you're complacent, you're not going to get anywhere. And that's fine for some people. You're good with the job you're at. That's fine. But there's so much growth and opportunity here.
And for you, did you ever anticipate that you would go from doing sales to being into a marketing type of position?
No, not at all. Not at all. But I'm so blessed that it worked out this way. And like I said at the beginning, I'm like marketing and sales really is the same exact thing. You're selling who you are as an individual and you're selling your company and in the end. So marketing yourself is really just increasing your sales.
And as far as like the marketing initiatives like that you're doing and that the company is doing, like I guess as of right now, do you have much involvement on the entire marketing of the company, or where does that kind of play?
So I am pretty much the entire marketing of our company. I have Carl Frazier, who is an amazing videographer that we hired that works directly with me. Other than that, I mean, we're our marketing department at this point. So we do all of our posting and communicating with our team members on what to post and all our social medias. So yeah, we wear a lot of hats over here, but we love it.
I think it's a really good approach, and I think that a lot of companies need to like get involved with like having their employees do some of the
Yes.
posting and have like and but also be able to support them, because I think one of the issues is like even the companies who want their employees to post, they don't ever like say like, hey, here's content to post.
Right. They don't know where to
Here's
start.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I get that question frequently, and they're like, Lauren, how do you get the machinists to post? Or how do you get the admin to post? And it's just like, well, first of all, you guys, you have to help. You just have to help. They're not going to know. That's not what they were hired on for. They probably have no background in that. You have to provide the content if you can. A lot of the times they can do it themselves because they're not capable of it. But I literally have every single one of us on a text thread, and they post the link that they of their post for the day, and we all go like and comment on it, and it takes 2 seconds to make a post. So if you're providing that content for them, they just have to log on and post it, and then you all go like and comment, and everyone's just benefiting. But you have to be helpful to them, not just expect it.
Like that's a big thing that we're doing is we have content that's created. Some people will like create their own content, like different versions. Like, hey, just give me the picture, and then I'll write the copy for it, or
Yes.
give me the copy, and I'll take the picture of something that I'm actually doing out here on the shop floor.
Mhm.
And I think being able to have that what's the word for it? Just being agile and being and everybody also having like their own input, because like
Right.
we've also tested like if we just feed them content only, how does that look?
Yeah.
Or if they have feedback in what the content is, like how it performs better and has its own voice.
Right. And everyone exactly has their own personality. You don't want robots for your team 24/7. So make sure that people are, even if you provide that content, still have a say in what they're posting because ultimately it's for their own personal profile. So
Yep.
you got to be yourself, everyone. What's that quote? You got to be yourself, everyone else is taken or whatever. But truly,
So what are some of the things that you feel have helped propel you in your career?
I think 100% it's again staying true to myself. I mean, I never put on a face that I am not genuine about. I really want to be and have hoped to be kind of the girl next door on LinkedIn. I've never wanted to come off as something I'm not or try to prove that I'm something I'm not. Um I stand true in my faith on I really am just myself. And I think that people want to connect with other genuine people. They don't want to connect with this sales pitchy person 24/7 who, I mean, you know what I'm getting at here? You just have to be a
Yeah.
genuine person because ultimately people connect with people. And that's what I try to put out there. I share my life experiences. I really don't hold back, but also hold back enough, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
always be
Yeah.
respectful and just maintain what you want to give off in the right way, always.
One thing that I've noticed that I'm kind of changing in my posting is being a little bit more open and like sharing a little bit more of my backstory. I kind of came from not like a pretty rough like teenage years and stuff like that, and so there's a lot of those things like I don't bring up and I don't talk about, but like uh, it's things that like some of those things I'm kind of letting at least mentioning some more of it, right? Because
Right.
there's other people out there in the industry, like Andrew Crow, like he also had like a rough upbringing, and the way that he's sharing and being able to influence individuals by seeing his story and seeing how he's overcame and gotten to where he's at right now, like those are really powerful to like the younger crowd and those who like maybe they don't think that they can be successful in their lives, or that they don't have anybody in their family that's ever went to college, and so they don't really have anybody giving them good insights of like, hey, go to this school, or hey, do this thing. Like they're not even the parents aren't even really advising them on like college career paths and whatnot.
Right.
And I think the open conversations about those things are very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always, I call it the three R's. It's real, raw, and resonate. And that's like people that can connect with you on a human level. Like I said, you're not a
Mhm.
robot. And I
Right.
mean, I have not a horrible childhood at all, but I have life situations that have come up previously in the last year, even that I really have connected with people about, because I've been so open and share enough, but not put everything out there, because you don't need to do that. It's whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
But people will cherish and appreciate you for that. And your experience on LinkedIn and social media in general will grow, honestly, if you're open to
Yeah.
that.
What are some other characteristics that you think have helped propel you in your career?
I think a lot of the fact that we don't see a lot of female representation has propelled me. The fact that we
Yeah.
don't see a lot of people under the age of 60 in this industry has propelled me, and to be one of the person that fits into both those categories, I feel like it's my responsibility and part of my process with being in manufacturing to just advocate for that. And so that has definitely propelled me to talk to people and get out there and put my face out there and my name and the company I work for. So I just want to,
Yeah.
I want other people to see that it's okay, and
Yeah.
feel at home and understood here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think and one thing that's kind of cool about like women advocacy in the manufacturing space. This is kind of funny. This is coming from a man, but the a lot of times the reason why a man also doesn't want to join the industry is because there's not enough women in it. And you know,
Really, you don't say.
yeah. So I mean, you look at a lot of relationships and marriages and things like that, and a lot of them, they transpire from like work atmospheres and uh, if you go to work and 90% of the people you're working with are guys and you're a guy, and then you're kind of like, huh, well, it's gonna be hard to find a life partner here.
Yeah, yeah. I completely understand that. I mean, you walk into a shop anywhere, literally anywhere, and you maybe see one female for every 100 guys. It's
Yep.
unbelievable. I don't know if you've been to IMTS, but when was this? 4 years ago, my first IMTS, I walked in there and I could probably count on both my hands like how many chicks I saw walking around. And
Mm.
um, I don't know what the statistics are, but I think we've gone up like 5% of female representation in the last like 4 years. So we're going up, but it's still so just not there. It's just not there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by a bunch of women that I'm just honored to work around, but they are great advocates, and I love seeing that because it's needed.
What are some of the tips that you have for individuals who are in college and looking uh, to get into this space?
I think the first thing is truly just know your worth, and know that you can go into an industry where you don't see people like you, and still be successful, because we need that, and like we will support that. And I think people are so scared to join this industry if they don't see people like them, but the people in this industry are praying for people like that to join, and I think probably 98% would be so supportive. So the pros truly outweigh the cons. Know your worth. Don't be scared. Just be that new individual. When I started, like I said, I didn't see anyone like me really, and I put myself out there, and now I'm hoping to help others do that. But be that person. Be that person that steps in and makes people see people like you. So know your worth. I would also say just don't get discouraged if you don't see the growth immediately. It's not going to happen in 24 hours. It's been a years and years process for all of us here,
Hmm.
but we're all here as not pioneers, but people who have done this and can help you along the way. We're ready to help you. So know your worth, be consistent and dedicated, and just constantly better yourself. And I swear you will see some great success here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of these things, so many things in just life and career, it's a long game. It's a matter of just putting in long, hard work for years and years and years. And that's
Mhm.
really where success comes from. It's not, nothing really happens overnight. And it's like very minuscule the amount of people that do become like successful overnight. It's years and years of work. Like I think one thing that kind of points this out is you can have like an artist of some kind, music artist or whatever, and they produce 200 videos, right?
Mhm.
And they have a collected amount of views of like 50,000 views. and then they output one video that happens to go viral, and then from that one viral video, all the content they've been doing and all the hard work they've been putting in for years is now getting seen and now getting recognized, whereas before maybe it wasn't showing up in an algorithm and or whatever it may be, right? But
Yeah.
something shined the light on that, and then created that exposure for that platform and for
Yeah.
their success.
Yes, and that's so true, like, it literally can just take one post, but that is you can't hold out for that because you never know if anything of yours will go viral, but it
Yeah.
really can. It can change that quickly, but you're never gonna know that unless you're putting in those consistent hours, so and never just hope for that, just be consistent and your numbers will shoot up eventually,
Yeah.
and just be genuine. Don't put on a face. Don't try to
Mhm.
be something you're not because it's very easy to. There's people in this industry who've been in here longer than I've been alive. And if you really think that you know what you're talking about, but you don't, they're going to know
Mhm.
immediately and not take you seriously. So put in
Yeah.
the hours and effort to know what you're doing.
Yeah, one thing that actually has been like a transition for me, like over the past maybe 6 months or so, is trying to be like maybe a little bit less serious and a little bit less professional.
Hmm.
Because like I noticed one thing, like especially like doing these podcasts and things like that, like I try to take them very serious. I try to be professional with them. And like with that, it kind of creates this layer and kind of creates this wall of like maybe where people can't relate, or it's just maybe it's not necessarily just myself, because like when I shut off the camera, I cut up more, I make more jokes, you
Yeah.
know what I mean, I'm kind of I'm a very serious person, but I'm also I'm the most serious unserious person you ever meet,
Yeah.
right?
Got a lot
Like
of layers over there.
yeah, so
Yeah.
like
I know. I that's so true. It's like you never know when to turn it on and off. But I think definitely in the last few years, people just want to chill a little bit more. Maybe
yeah.
that's ever since COVID, even because it's all been virtual, and this is the only way that we can ever show our personalities is through online.
Hmm.
But yeah, everyone just wants to hold a conversation and just be like I'm not even thinking remotely about who would be watching this from now on. It's just like we're having a
Right.
conversation and you just got to just be yourself, and that's great that you've realized that for you.
We came from a age of time where things were more serious, right? Like
Mhm.
and it, you know, maybe it happened back at the farm whenever, you know, we was doing farming, and like it was very serious that we went out there and we plowed the fields and you know, basically created a livelihood for ourselves, and then transitioned into business, and like there's this older age of business, and then now we're in an era where I think the younger generation, that's one the good thing that they're going to bring in is like they're going to be more lively. They're going to care a lot more about the happiness and the work culture that we live in. Whereas, you know, I'm not going to say that that didn't exist before, but I think people just work jobs their entire lives that they really didn't like.
Mhm.
And I think this next generation is going to be more resilient to that.
Yeah,
And
I mean, think about how many hours of your life you spend working. It's just like you have to be. Otherwise, you're just going to be a miserable person and that's going to feed onto others. And so, especially with an online presence, you got to be positive as much as you possibly can. Not all the time and be fake about it, but truly you got to inspire and bring some positivity to the world cuz
mm-hmm.
Lord knows we need it. So, we do,
Yeah,
and I completely agree. People are starting to do that, and that's what people get drawn to. Even myself, I'm just like,
mm-hmm.
that's a great person. That's what I want to emit into the world, and yeah, it'll make us all better.
I'm starting to see like a lot of newer companies as well. They're doing things like painting things. They're painting. They're like painting the inside of their facility. Their facility's nice and clean versus being that you know, dull and dirty
Yeah.
environment. And I think that helps a lot too. Whenever you walk in and it's a bright white facility and it's nice and crisp and clean, and the brand colors is like a really cool thing. So like not only is like your marketing like outward facing, but it's inward facing, and the people of your company are able to like see the creativity that the marketing team's generating internally inside the company.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like
Any little bit helps. Truly, people just are
yeah,
drawn to things that are exciting and positive, and it can really just change the entire company's demeanor. So I love that.
absolutely. One cool thing that I've seen before was somebody even was like utilizing their brand colors for like signage in the bathrooms.
Ooh, I love
Like,
that. Cool.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Like, employees wash your hands before leaving the bathroom or whatever, but it would be like in their brand color. So like those
Yeah,
are
and
really
that
cool.
small things like that, it's just like make an effort every aspect of it, not even just marketing, like just as a business owner, think of things like that that will make people just be a little bit more bright in certain areas. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that you mentioned was positivity.
Yeah.
What are some good ways that you try to keep yourself positive and try to like radiate positivity into the world?
Well, I'm not going to get all religious on you, but truly, really quick, I am religious. So that, I mean, I always try to give grace in every single post that I make. And I know that people are struggling way more than I ever have in my life. So whatever I post, I try and uplift and encourage and let people know that even if you're not a religious person, like there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. You just got to keep pushing, and there's people here for you and with you and experiencing this alongside of you. So you're never alone, and you just truly need to believe that. So every post that I do, I like to do like a quote, or share my personal experience, but it truly is just uplifting others, because when you uplift someone else, we can all succeed. It's like a ladder. So
Yeah.
yeah, give grace and be supportive is what I say.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of like my success that has been driven from like individuals on social media. So like that's one big thing for me. Like whenever it comes to like creating content, it's like trying to like influence individuals into like making the next step in their career, or if they're contemplating doing something like starting a business, that maybe they read a post and that post is the thing that makes them pull the trigger. I listen to so much like Gary Vanderchuck and Patrick Bet-Davids and Grant Cardone's and all these individuals that are talking about all these different business things. And I did that for years as like a 9 to 5 employee, and just like
Mhm.
spending all my free time listening to these individuals. And I started realizing over time that like I'm building up a amount of wisdom and knowledge that nobody else around me is doing. And it basically just created that light for me. Like it just took that trigger
Yeah.
for me to be able to kind of take that leap and start a company and take a risk.
Yeah, and by bettering yourself, you really have the ability to better others. And that's the whole point of like putting in those hours and that work, is to not only help yourself but do something greater with your online presence. If you're able to reach even one person, it's worth it. So that's how I view it.
Where are people going to be able to find you at this year? Are you going to any events, or what does that look like?
Yeah, I'm kind of getting that all scheduled out as we speak. It's all coming up. But I know I'm going to be at PMTS in Cleveland, so I'll be there, probably
Okay.
doing a lot of other trade shows as well, speaking on some panels, and I'll keep everyone updated on that. But we're working that out. But if anyone wants me, you reach out to me, and I can do my best to be wherever you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's another big thing for like us. Like I'm trying to, for like time optimization, I'm really trying to land like some speaking engagements
Yeah.
for the events that we attend. So like, you know, I think that just at least attending events is like ultra valuable, and I think that it's definitely worth it to make an appearance, shake some hands, especially like if you like with being an influencer and having like a lot of followers and stuff like that. Like you get to go out there and actually meet with the people of the industry, and I
Yeah.
think that has a very significant value to it. Um, but like for the optimization of time thing, it's like it's nice. Like if something else is directly taking me there, and
Right.
then I'm also there for the other reasons as well.
Right. I think I went to probably literally every single trade show possible last year. And we'll talk after and I'll tell you which ones are worth it and not. But like, that's absolutely true. You want to put a face to the name and actually be that person that you are online, so people can really see that. So I love that too. Yep.
Yeah. Also, I think just the events in general are like really good for people to go to. Actually, kind of a funny thing. We were at a few. So we went to like almost every event this past year, and there would be like instances where I'd be like, "Oh, Lauren's here. Let's go run by their booth or whatever. Let's go run and see
Yeah.
where they're at." Like you're seeing it on some stages at a couple of them, and he's basically trying to meet up with different people. There's like 3 different events we went to. we missed you at every one of them, and
Of
then there was
course.
like there was like multiple of the events. Like we ended up missing everybody that we was trying to see, and
Yeah.
but it's kind of funny though, like how everybody gets together at these events and everybody's running around doing their own thing.
Yeah, they're like, we're running with our heads cut off. It's a mile an hour, like mile a minute. It's crazy. But yeah, I went to IMTS, and it's so weird, like being an influencer and meeting other influencers. Like you're just like,
Yeah,
you meet in person and you're just like, whoa, this is it's just surreal. You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about. But yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I'd love to meet you guys in person though. We need to make that happen.
yeah. We'll do it.
Yeah.
I think I know we'll be at AME. I think we're speaking at AME, so
When is that
we'll
again?
definitely.
The one in Michigan, correct?
Yep, yep. I think it's in August if I'm not
August?
mistaken.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it was last year. Okay. Well, there we
yeah.
go. We got a few months, but it'll happen.
It'll happen. Yep. Yeah, and we'll be at some other ones, I'm sure. Especially like we're definitely some of the Chicago ones. Those aren't too bad for us with being in Evansville, Indiana.
Yeah.
So we'll probably be there as well.
Yeah, same. I'm right up the road, so I'll probably see you guys there too.
Well, do you have any last valuable tips that you'd like to add to the community?
Just be yourself. Be yourself, be genuine. People don't want a robot, and always give grace to everyone because you never know what they're going through. So that's my advice.
Couldn't agree with you more. Where can people find you at?
They can find me on LinkedIn, Lauren LaDell. Otherwise, I'm on Instagram, Lauren the Spindle Chick. And yeah, that's where I post all of our updates. And then Motor City Spindle Repair is where I work, and keep in touch with them as well because that's where I am.
Awesome. Thank you for being on today. I appreciated having you.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor being here.
Thank you. Appreciate your positive energy.
Thank you. Likewise. Likewise. Let's keep it up in
Thank
the
you.
future. Let's do another one of these.